TC America, powered by AWS, is back for the second leg of its Sebring doubleheader. This 3.7-mile, 17-turn track is revered equally for its history and for its challenge. Yesterday saw Chris Walsh and PJ Gronke extend their winning streaks in TCX and TCA to 3 races, while Jeff Rika bounced back from heartbreak in Sonoma with a second win of the year. Today, the rest of the field will look to unseat that trio as we embark on race 2 of the weekend right here in Sebring. Hello and welcome to Central Florida. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside. Amanda Busick is down in the pit lane. It's a pleasure to have your company as the cars roll out of the pit lane behind the Toyota GR Supra safety car. We're about ready to go for the second leg of this doubleheader here, Calvin. It's a relatively cool morning, and I think all these touring car drivers will agree that is a welcome change from the heat of the day yesterday.
It really is. In terms of the car's performance, it is really related to the track temperature. So ambient temperature is about 15 degrees lower than we had in race conditions yesterday. So that really helped make these cars feel a lot better, a lot stronger. But we saw some great battles yesterday. We hope for a continuation of that here this morning. But Catania starting on the front row. He's got to get to Chris Walsh early, I think, to try and stop that charge that he's on with sweeping every weekend.
That's right. Another runner-up finish for Lucas Catania yesterday. He's been in that position more than he would care to think about, I think it's safe to say, over the past few seasons. But he's right there with Chris. He's been able to bring the fight to him from time to time, and he'll have his dad behind him in the second row, Joseph Catania, starting third. Celso Neto had a great run yesterday. He'll start fourth overall today. Let's look at that starting grid since we're running through it. It is Walsh on the Rova pole position in TCX, next to Lucas Catania, Joseph Catania, and Celso Neto, as mentioned, back in the second row. Aaron Kaplan from the Chicago area. He'll run from the 5th spot next to Chris DeFreitas, and Cooper Broll starting out back in TCX in the 7th spot. On the TC class pole, it's Jeff Rika in the Gin Racer Hyundai. Christian Pericarpi finished runner-up yesterday. He starts second today next to Ruben Iglesias Jr. Joey Jordan, they had some mechanical issues yesterday. They think those are dealt with. That should help that Mazda 3 go that little bit faster. Sally McNulty starts alongside, and Scott Thompson out back in TC. PJ Gronke has won every race this year in TCA. He'll lead Matty Lemke and Alan Grossberg to the green flag in the TCA class. And we'll see if Alex Garcia takes the green. He did not participate in the race yesterday, did not set a time in qualifying. So that's how they line up here, Calvin. On this tricky track here in Sebring, 17 turns, nearly 4 miles in length, and as bumpy as they come.
It is. It's certainly a big challenge. Some really demanding corners, I feel, turn 1 and turn 17. A couple of the most challenging corners you'll find anywhere in all of the North America. But one thing with these cars, there's great space here to run side by side, so I expect to see some action like that throughout the course of this 40-minute sprint race.
Certainly saw that at times in race 1 yesterday. It's a 40-minute sprint race, so no conserving tires, no worries about pit stops. It is go, go, go from the drop of the green flag. And it will be Chris Walsh and Lucas Catania on the front row in TCX, coming to the green flag. Front row in the TC class, Jeff Rika in the Hyundai, Christian Pericarpi in the Mini, and then again in TC, PJ Gronke in his Mini, Matty Lemke in a Honda. That's the front row. In the TCA class, 3 classes of cars, great mix of machines, great talent in the driver's seats as well. We're about ready to go for the second time this weekend here at Sebring as the field enters the VP acceleration zone. We look for the green flag. We wait, we wait, we wait for the leader to go. Now they do. There's the green flag, and we're off and racing here at Sebring. Chris Walsh with a late start here, but he uses it to his advantage to grab the lead. Father and son Catania going side by side here into turn 1. Celso Neto poking his nose up the inside as well in the Skip Barber racing car.
I think as Joe to the inside there. No, Neto's trying to get the inside of Joe. Is going to get really tight here down into Christensen corner. Neto takes it in deep. Lucas clears them and grabs P2, but Walsh is well on his way here. Handy lead heading into turn 5.
Yeah, that's exactly what Chris wanted to see out the rearview mirror. The others fighting behind him. That's let him build a gap here in the early stages. Neto splitting the father and son duo of Lucas and Joe Catania. They run back there just behind, but it's this Karas race team run BMW out at the front of the field. Here comes Neto, though. Look aggressive here on the first lap as he took a peek to the outside of Lucas Catania.
Yeah, and he had good pace in the early laps here yesterday and then sort of faded a little bit, but he's got the heat on Lucas Catania. Chris Walsh, what a start, dominating early.
Yeah, this is what he's done most of the season. His closest competition has been Catania, but Celso Neto has other ideas. That's the front running of these new Acura Integras in this pack, currently sitting in the 3rd spot. It's a much different platform than the BMW front-wheel drive compared to the rear-wheel drive BMW machines.
They seem so evenly matched across the lap here yesterday in terms of acceleration, top speed, overall lap time, but he certainly struggled a little bit with the car as we got deeper into the race yesterday. He had good one-lap pace in qualifying here on Saturday morning, and similar conditions now, so let's see what that Honda can do in these conditions here this morning, the Acura Integra, excuse me.
Celso was a big part of the show yesterday. He was driving that car on the ragged edge, just slinging it around this racetrack, and it made for spectacular viewing.
Yeah, it was certainly entertaining to watch, and there you see Catania taking the middle of the road, making Neto go to the high side down the Almond Straight. Walsh doesn't even have to think about it. He's got a nice gap here in terms of defending whatsoever.
Catania in the white 17 BMW, Neto in the number 22 Acura from the Skip Barber Racing School team. Two different approaches to turn 17, but they come out nose to tail. We'll see what kind of a run Celso Neto can get on the BMW driver. Walsh leads lap number 1 here at Sebring, but the battle is on for 2nd.
Yeah, Lucas made a little feint to the left and then back to the right. He's probably got to control that moving around. Otherwise, the stewards are going to start to take a closer look at that. But Neto's car seems to be really hooked up here in the early going. Lucas again getting a little defensive there, moving back online. I think he's got to clean that up a little bit. You can't be proactive. You got to kind of pick your lane and stick to it.
And behind those two, it's Joseph Catania starting to get into the flow of the race here in race number 2. Had a good run yesterday, so close to a 2nd career podium, doing battle with Neto over the back half of the race. Here comes Neto, though, attacking Lucas Catania here, and Lucas able to fend him off, guarding the inside jealously.
Yeah, and the problem is when he gets on that defensive mode, they're going to compromise their lap time a little bit. I understand why. He's trying to hang on at P2 because Neto's car seems to be hooked up a little bit stronger than it was in race conditions here yesterday.
Now into the battle in the TC class. Looked like for a moment there, Christian Pericarpi was putting some pressure perhaps on Jeff Rica. We check back in here, though, on the battle for 2nd overall and in TCX. Here comes Neto working his way to the outside of Lucas. Side by side they go. Neto rolls a lot of speed around the outside. Lucas gives him room. And now the track's about to come back Neto's way here with a couple of left-hand corners upcoming.
Yeah, super clean racing there by Lucas Catania, and by doing that, he's allowed Neto to shoot through the inside there on the run down to Bishop.
Move Neto up to P2.
See what we can do now. He's got clean air on the nose of that Acura Integra. Car seems to be hooked up way better than in race conditions here yesterday, Ryan.
Well, let's remember, they qualified nearly equal to the BMWs in conditions much like this yesterday. The race happened much later in the day when the temperature came up, so maybe we can read something into that.
Absolutely. I just think it works better in these cooler temps.
Celso Neto from 4th on the grid already moves his way up into the 2nd spot. Lucas Catania, though, settling in. He'll try and claw back the deficit. In the meantime, as we watch the TCX field stream through the final corner, it's Broll, Kaplan, DeFreitas in the TCX field, but then we get to the Hyundais, and Rica actually has the lead. It was the battle between Iglesias and Pericarpi. That was over the 2nd spot, and keep an eye on Joey Jordan there in the Mazda. He's starting to reel in the battle for the podium spots.
Yeah, and this is great news. They had some suspension shock issues with that Mazda, so hopefully they got those sorted out overnight, and Joey's got a more manageable car to deal with these bumps here at Sebring.
Yeah, if there was a place to have shock issues, this would not be the one you would choose.
You need everything on your side to handle these bumps here.
Iglesias having a really nice run up in the 2nd spot, but how long will he hold on to it? He was able to jump Pericarpi here in the early going, but Christian right now sitting in the slipstream, looking to the inside. It's Mini versus Hyundai. We've seen this battle over the past couple of seasons. And Christian Pericarpi slots his way up the inside. He'll grab second spot.
Yeah, nice clean move there. And Glazius actually had the championship lead coming into this weekend after Sonoma grabbed a win there after problems for Ricker in race 2.
Problems for Chris DeFreitas. This car into the pit lane, run by the Racer's Edge team with some help from Ian Lacey. That's too bad. Don't like to see that this early in the going. Ultimately, that effectively takes you out of contention for any kind of good result in a race as short as this. Pericarpi, though, making that move, now starting to pull away, and pretty soon, I suspect, it'll be Iglesias v. Jordan fighting over third, because Joey Jordan is starting to reel in that Hyundai.
Yeah, his cars look to be working well. A lot of development with that Mazda over the last year or so.
Talked to Derek Ambrose from Cork Sport that is developing this car. Asked him just how similar is this car we see today to the car we saw running over the past few years. He said basically it's a whole new car. It's a different chassis, same power plant. A power plant, by the way, that you can buy from Mazda. And then with the Cork Sport turbo package. But in general, this is a big step forward in the development of this car on behalf of Mazda. And Mazda took note of the fact that Joey had a podium run and came into this weekend in a good points position. But we saw this car in the pits. Chris DeFreitas now making its way out. I believe Amanda's got an update.
Yeah, that's very good news. I was talking to John Maraki just about the Acura this season, and they said that every event that they go to right now is testing as they get used to this format and ready for competition. But in talking to Chris ahead of the race, he said that every race is an opportunity just to get more and more comfortable coming over from the Honda Civic. Really noticed in the brake pressure, he said that it's much more pronounced and actually pulls the car to the right, but was in pit lane on issues with shifting. The car was stuck in fourth gear. They were able to right that and get Chris back on track.
That's good to hear. Chris, of course, went through what was then known as the HPD Driver Academy. That was originally just a GT3-based academy, but they expanded it to touring cars, and Chris took part in that, so that's how he knows the Racer's Edge team. They ran that program on behalf of Honda and Acura.
Gaps between the top 5 now. Walsh continues to lead impressively. Lead is now up to almost 3 seconds with under 9 minutes on the board, so it's a pretty impressive pace that he's displaying. But the fastest lap of the race has now gone to Celso Neto on his last lap, so the Acura Integra really does have some good pace here as we talk about the cooler conditions on the second race of the weekend.
This is a developing story. Alex Garcia has driven from the back of the TCA field to the lead. Did not see him take part in the race yesterday. He was a late addition to the entry list for the Skip Barber School team. He does the Toyota GR Cup Series with the Skip Barber School, but he has made the pass on PJ Gronke, the veteran. That is no small feat for the young man, Alex Garcia, who just graduated from college coming into this weekend. So congratulations, Alex.
He's got a task on his hand if he's going to go 4 for 4 here. Alex is doing a great job here.
Has a karting background. Chose the Skip Barber School team for the support that the racing school gives, the coaching, everything that goes along with it. As we talked about yesterday, Skip Barber using programs in race series like this as a way to promote talent that they identify coming through their school programs.
I think it's a great concept to take a lot of their students and give them the opportunity to enter pro racing. And first step on that ladder would be here in TCA. Again, relatively low budgets to go pro racing, so I think it's enticing for young drivers to take this first step, see how they fare, and then you can move from here to TC, to TCX, and then possibly into GT4. So lots of places for them to move to.
Yeah, we've seen drivers do that over the past few years. Kevin Bowman, Eric Powell come to mind, both champions in touring cars. Yeah.
I was a bit lured there through turn 1, but he hung on to it nicely.
Ooh, Celso Neto has dropped back. He's into 4th now and coming under some pressure from Cooper Prohl, it looks like. Now that car was a handful for him yesterday. Let's see what happened here. Ooh, got really wide.
I was actually into turn 5 where he looks like he's trying to get something sorted out. So I'm not sure if he had some kind of electronic issue that made him just stay off the racing line.
I think we can get an update on Celso Neto now with Amanda.
I was just talking to the team about the car from yesterday to today, and they said that they did make a shock adjustment overnight to find more stability in that Acura.
Well, they needed it. It was a handful, like we said. There were times that car was completely sideways. Right there, Neto fended off a challenge from Cooper Broll that was opportunistic. We have seen that type of move in that corner this weekend across various series, end in tears, so credit to the pair of them for making it work.
Yeah, it looks like Celso's car's back up to speed, so I'm not sure if he was just sorting himself out or something technically with that race car through that little sector there between turn 3 and turn 5 on the last lap. Wow! See when he tightens up through turn 17, the bumps that he encounters. That was a wild ride there.
Strong run, nevertheless, out of that final corner. Now looking to make this pass on Joe Catania. Crosses back over to the inside. Celso Neto flings that car down to the apex, and he'll grab the 3rd spot right back.
That was beautifully judged. Fantastic timing to that. I think Joseph thought he had him set, and then Celso just slid across the rear bumper and put it down to the inside for turn 1.
Yeah, Celso able to leak through that gap, grab the position back. Still does have the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, we'll see what sort of pace he's got again now, see if he can get his head down. That gap to Lucas is really blown out there. It's about 4 seconds, so he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to climb up the podium.
It's great news for Chris Walsh because Neto's about the only one that's been able to match his pace through the opening 13 minutes of this race. Walsh's lead over Lucas Catania is now 6.3 seconds. It's actually grown even further than that at the last intermediate check at 7.0 seconds. And then it's a further handful of seconds back to this battle here between Celso Neto and Joe Catania. Right there in the background, Cooper Broll, who seemingly is getting more and more comfortable with his race car, also out of the Skip Barber Racing School stable, one of those Acura Integras, and I saw that car undergoing what looked like it might have been an engine change or something to that effect early in the weekend. I'm happy to say that they've been able to make it on track here for both races this weekend. I didn't get a chance to chat with the team, but it looked like a difficult start to the weekend going back to Friday.
Like Joey Jordan's lost a little bit of ground here to the top 3 in class. Now you see De Freitas.
Yeah.
Still struggling here. The car's stuck in gear, so if he's got to pull off, he can find one of those safe havens so we can keep green here.
In the meantime, PJ Gronke continues to battle with young Alex Garcia, the Miami, Florida native. PJ coming down to race from Canada, as he's done for many, many years now. And I think he's got to be loving this. Counterintuitively, you know, he's been winning all these races, but more or less unopposed. I know he loves the thrill of the wheel-to-wheel battle. That's what he finds himself with right here as he puts the chase on Alex Garcia.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Eating up the curb there, straddling it with that Mini through turn 15 on the back straightaway. Let's see how the two cars compare here. It's pretty much a dyno run down this backstretch.
And you might see one car at one section of the backstretch look to have an advantage, and then it swing back the other way, just with the gear ratios that are homologated in these race cars.
Look pretty even, don't they? It
Yeah.
doesn't really change much at all. That's incredible that you can have two very different cars like that. And great job by the technical department and the balance of performance to get the cars equal.
The chase continues. It's been about that distance between the two all race long, ever since Garcia got to the lead, coming from the back of the pack. Not sure how much seat time he's had in this car, frankly, this weekend, because we noted he did not race yesterday, did not set a qualifying time because he did not race yesterday.
It's always interesting when you get out there with a new competitor. I mean, typically in a race series, you're familiar with your opponents. And suddenly you get thrown in with a new driver. How aggressive is he going to be? What sort of racecraft does he has? Certainly Alex is throwing that Honda around a little bit through turn 5 there, and it's given PJ a bit of a run.
Yeah, had a moment. Looked like it cost him some momentum on corner exit. Now in this drag race down to the turn 7 hairpin. Gronke looking around the outside. Now will he try the crossover? Really much of a gap to go through, but it does have a run, it would appear. PJ Gronke in the blue Mini closing in for the race lead in the TCA class.
He's had a slightly faster lap time on the board than Alex has so far into this race, so the pace is there for PJ. Gotta see how bad does he want to keep the unbeaten run going here.
Well, I know he's thinking about a championship. Garcia not running a full season, so not really someone you have to worry about giving away points to in the championship battle. But then there's that ever-enticing lure of a race win that's dangling out there, and PJ hasn't had too many of them up until this year since he moved into the TCA class. Just the one win at VIR since his TCB class championship back in 2017. Until he kicked off this year with 3 in a row, of course.
Yeah, it's a good point, because if you throw it all away and you have a 0-point score, that takes a lot of making up with a relatively small field. So
that's right.
Certainly find Matty Lemke with the championship lead.
And Matty's done a nice job just to keep it clean all season long to this point, running 3rd at the moment. Light on experience. Made her debut at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway last year. Battle is on. What is this? Is this for 3rd or is this for 2nd? This is for 3rd. Neto coming under pressure here from Joseph Catania. Able to fend him off, but Joseph is up on the wheel right now.
I'm not sure if Neto had traffic on that last lap, but his lap time was a 2:22.3 and his best lap was a 2:19.5. So not sure if he had a moment, encountered some traffic, but with the cars just gone off a little bit. But that's a huge swing in performance and lap time.
It certainly is.
Car just looked to be alive there in the first 5-10 minutes of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw that pace, like you mentioned. It's still the fastest lap of the race. And right now, Celso Neto's got his hands full to keep Joseph Catania behind him. Let's hear more about Joe with Amanda.
One of the things we were rewarded with yesterday at the end of the race, based on the fastest lap times, we knew that Lucas Catania and Chris Walsh were going to be on that front row, but we also knew that Joseph Catania was going to be right behind Chris Walsh. He was hoping that he could be in a better place of being able to help his son against Chris Walsh here today. But when I talked to Lucas Catania yesterday, he said, man, I just have this broadcaster's curse. Every time you guys talk to me, I end up as runner-up. So I pointed at him this morning and I said, I'm not talking to you, Lucas. Go get it.
Well, guilty as charged, I suppose.
Alex really rolls huge speed through turn 1. That's pretty impressive. Thought the first lap he'd overdone it, but he does it consistently, and the little Honda hangs on there.
Yeah, whether it's the Honda or the Acura, both cars, it seems like that style will work. Here's a fight for position. This is 2nd in TC. And Iglesias has gotten back around Pericarpi, who had that position, if you recall. So this is a change for 2nd place with the Hyundai back around the Mini.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jeff Ricker is well down the road, has about a 7-second lead over this battle for 2nd. So he's doing everything he can after having a disappointing DNF round 2 at Sonoma.
And we heard from him post-race yesterday about the effort it took to prepare a car. There was a fire in that DNF that caused some damage to the chassis he used at Sonoma. They were trying to get that chassis repaired and prepped for this weekend. Ultimately, it was too much of a task to get done in the time they had, so they had to prep a backup chassis instead, with the hope of putting that original chassis back into service at Circuit of the Americas, where it sounds like the Gen Racer team will have an expanded program with additional cars of the grid, which is great to hear. This is Cooper Brohl fighting with Aaron Kaplan here. Kaplan who had such a strong debut at Road America last year. Of course, that's his home track. He's got tons of laps there. He's run the SCCA June sprints there over the years. These other tracks he's learning, and he's starting to pick up the pace.
Well, they're both picking up the pace, and certainly Neto's lap times, we'll see what he pulls this time, but the last 2 laps have been in the 2:23s, and Brohl and Kaplan are running 2:21, so at that sort of rate, they're going to catch that battle for third really quickly.
This is that battle for third that you're looking at right here. Neto continues to hold off Joseph Catania, and remember the storyline yesterday. Joseph's got that one podium finish to his name, but it came in unfortunate circumstances at the expense of his son, effectively.
Yeah, Neto's got no pace. Joseph Catania looks down at the inside. Let's see what Neto does. Sweeps across the bow, but watch for Brohl and Kaplan to catch this too. As they're engaged in this little battle, they seem to be stymied by Neto's pace right now. And Brohl and Kaplan are catching them hand over fist.
Still plenty of time to go, too. We're just past the halfway mark with 18 minutes left. What you're watching here is third place, Celso Neto in the Acura. Fourth place, Joseph Catania in the BMW. Then a couple more BMWs giving chase. Actually, it's an Acura and a BMW giving chase with Cooper Brohl and Aaron Kaplan. You see them in the background.
Yeah, we saw Neto kind of off the racing line through turns 3 through 5 there about 5 minutes ago, and I wonder if there's something technically wrong with his car, that he just doesn't have the same performance any longer. So to lose 3 or 4 seconds is an incredible performance delta. It's allowing, you can see Brohl's got something loose underneath his race car, but he and Kaplan are catching this pair.
This might be the chance for Catania. Around the outside, but he outbrakes himself. Goes wide. Now what will the pursuing cars do? Through goes Brohl. Through goes Kaplan. So from a moment ago, looking like third place might be on the table, Joseph Catania now has dropped back to 6th.
Yeah, for Cooper Brohl, he's got to be thinking there's a podium potential here. Neto's off the road in Tower.
And keep in mind, Neto is his teammate. Those are both Skip Barber Racing School teams, so there's a decent chance he is aware of any issue that Celso Neto might be dealing with. Oh, up the inside, Kaplan. Oh, that was aggressive.
Yeah, Neto's got an issue.
Yep,
Yeah.
sure does. He's going to pull straight off. Or will he? Very strange. Now rejoins the track, but at the tail end of that train. So put Brohl now into podium position. He runs third, Kaplan fourth, Catania fifth. They run in a train down the Oldman Straight with the ailing Celso Neto falling further and further behind.
Okay, Joseph's got to regroup here because he had a strong podium car. He's just got to get back into his rhythm. It's strange when you follow someone so closely, you can suddenly get into their same rhythm around the track and you're going a second or more slower than what your potential you have.
This would be a great result for Cooper Brohl if he can hang on. Same is true for Aaron Kaplan, who did get a podium in one of those 2 races at Road America last year. In fact, it was his very first race.
Neto stays out. So I think some kind of intermittent issue that gets worse, but also is affecting the overall performance at the same time. It's got like 2 phases to it seems.
Would love to know what's going on with that car. Celso Neto, who has still the fastest lap of this race, but that seems like an eternity ago as he continues to drop off the pace and out of contention. He now runs at the very back of the TCX field. Here comes Kaplan looking to the inside of Brohl, late on the brakes. Brohl saw him coming.
Nice.
But Kaplan gets it slowed down. However, Brohl does fight back to the inside, and Brohl will take the spot right back. This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th in TCX.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is underneath the car, but seems to be coming from just behind the front splitter there on Brohl's car. We are hearing transmission issues on Celso Neto, so that would make sense where he suddenly maybe just can't get into a gear and he's just wandering around trying to sort things out technically.
Yeah, tough day. And that's the second Acura to report transmission issues. Let's remember the Christopher Freitas car was stuck in gear earlier today. Still a very new package from Acura relative to these BMWs that are battle tested at this stage.
So who's going to claim that final podium spot? It's a spicy little battle. I mean, Kaplan did an excellent job and kept it together, got it to apex, but Cooper used great experience there to adjust and get to the inside as they exited turn 7 and got the position back.
Cooper from California, former ski racer actually before getting into cars. Had a difficult bout with Lyme's disease in his youth, though. It forced him out of school and sports for a couple of years, but found his way into motorsport through the Barber School. Took classes in the Mustang and the Civic and also in the F4 open wheel car, and competed last year for the school team in the TCA class, making the big jump from TCA to TCX this year with support, of course, from Pied Parker, as you can see on the side of that machine.
And he's got into a nice rhythm here. He's gap capping a little bit on this lap and taking the pressure off. So now if he can just hit his marks, he may be able to solidify this podium position.
This is the best battle on the racetrack right now. Chris Walsh leads overall by 14 seconds over Lucas Catania, then 12 seconds back to this battle. In the other classes, it's Jeff Rica leading Ruben Iglesias by 9 seconds, then 2 seconds back to Christian Pericarpi. And Alex Garcia continues to show the way in TCA, leading PJ Gronke now by nearly 4 seconds.
Sally McNulty has gotten around Joey Jordan for P4 in the touring car class as well.
This is Garcia, making his first start in the series today. Did not take the start yesterday. Presumably was on track earlier this morning, qualifying for the second Toyota GR Cup race, which is coming up later on today.
He's really hustling that race car. Gronke still has a faster lap than him, but Garcia's suddenly gapped him big time over the last 2 or 3 laps.
Well, I'm impressed with how he dealt with the pressure from a veteran like Gronke, who's been in these positions several times over the course of his career. And the youngster who does come from karting, so it's not like he's not been wheel to wheel and not been in high pressure situations before, but still has to adapt to doing it in a car like this one. I think he's doing a really nice job.
Certainly driving the wheels off
no
it. He is
kidding.
on the ragged edge. It's fun to watch.
You were talking about his technique in this part of the track. The line he takes.
It's nice and tidy there, but he certainly attacks turn 1 every single lap, right on the edge.
Jeff Rica, he's thinking championship this year. Was denied last year with some misfortune in the final race of the season. I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but any chance to fight for it was taken out.
Joseph looking down the inside of Kaplan there in traffic, couldn't quite get the job done.
Yeah. Brohl really not under any pressure here at the moment. He's been able to leave these two behind. Aaron Kaplan, by the way, comes from a racing family. His father was a crew chief in the kart IndyCar series in the 80s, including crew chiefing for 1981 kart runner-up Bill Alsop. Learned that on one of our Twitch live shows that we do intermittently on the SRO American Twitch channel, hosted typically by Ash Vandelay, but I was tasked to fill in once and got a chance to talk to Aaron and picked up that little tidbit there. You always get some interesting little nuggets from those shows. A lot of discussion about whether or not people like the Cars movies. That seems to be common fodder on those programs, and who wouldn't like the Cars movies, right?
So much fun. This guy's having fun. Just absolutely dominating fashion here. I thought that Lucas Catania starting on the front row could have maybe given Chris Walsh a run for his money, but he has stamped this one with authority. 15-second margin right now.
Yeah, remarkable job. Great job, too, by this Karas race team. We've seen them the last couple of years running in Pirelli GT4 America as well as GT America with Nick Shanny and Terry Porcheller. Glad to see them putting this program together. And I think, if I'm remembering this right, the story we got at Sonoma was this race team really liked Chris's story, being an active military member, also involved in racing, being involved in suicide prevention for veterans as well. And they've dipped into their own pockets to make this program happen for Chris here this year.
he's still pushing. Even though he's got that big lead, you can see him really hustling the car through turn 1. Sally McNulty putting together a really strong season. Had a best finish at Sonoma, P2.
That was cool to see for sure. She told me earlier in the weekend, more podiums, that's the goal here. Running just off the podium at the moment in 4th. About 16 seconds back of 3rd place, Christian Pericarpi. This is the other TC Spec Mini. This is Scott Thompson, who's still very new to this, does have some Spec Miata experience on the West Coast, and ran in that car in the 25 hours of Thunderhill back over the winter in preparation for this new season.
Cooper is doing a really excellent job here, hanging on with that 3rd position. First time here at Sebring, so not an easy place to get your head around and get committed.
Everybody has condensed together again in this battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's how they run now, but it's not how they've been running. While we were away looking at some other battles, this was Kaplan up the inside of Cooper Brohl, but Brohl able to come right back around the inside. That's tremendous from 2 relatively inexperienced drivers. In the meantime, here we go again. Catania poking his nose up the inside of Kaplan that time, but can't make the pass stick.
Yeah, Joseph just kind of getting halfway, kind of in no man's land. I thought he was going to turn Kaplan there and there would be a collision, but he just kept it clean. So twice Kaplan has made a move for that position, and both times Cooper Brohl has really used savvy racecraft to tuck back inside and regain the position by the time they exit the corner.
Whoa! Cooper Brohl totally sideways, able to make the save, but that leaves him vulnerable to Kaplan, who's got a decent run coming. So too does Joseph Catania. They run nose to tail down the Ullman Straight, and frankly, maybe Kaplan had to back out of it, seeing a crash that just barely didn't happen. I mean, that was something else.
That was really nice car control there by Cooper. He's done an excellent job. He's really digging deep, I feel. These BMWs may have a little bit more pace, but he's hanging tough. See what Kaplan does this time. A little bit further behind. I'm not sure he's going to be in a position to make a move down into turn 1. Joseph sitting back there at that podium position, albeit briefly.
Once again, this is 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the TCX class here with just 6 minutes to go in race 2 of the weekend for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. And the Skip Barber school team very much in the middle of this. That's the car that leads this train. Much like the Pied Piper, it's the Pied Parker car. Showing the way. Aaron Kaplan for the Kaplan Racing Systems team closing in. And not too far behind from the Rigid Speed Shop in upstate New York, Joseph Catania.
Kaplan really wants this podium spot here. What does he do here? Is he going to flick it to the inside, slides it down on Cooper? Nicely judged.
That is for a spot on the podium. Cooper Brohl, though, will not go quietly. He's on the counterattack now after losing that position to Kaplan. We've seen him take the spot back from time to time already.
Seems like the Acura is really in its sweet spot torque-wise as it comes through turn 11 there, Collier corner. And almost is in position to get back by the BMW, but then you're swinging it back to the other side of the racetrack and can't quite clean him.
Now this rhythm section here, 15, 16. Back onto the Ullman Straight. Catania's got to run now on Brohl. Swings to the inside. Brohl can't get there to defend. This will be a drag race, BMW versus Acura. How many times in the history of First World Challenge, now SRO, have we said that in the touring car ranks? So, long-standing rivalry. Up the inside, the BMW into 4th place. Joe Catania on the recovery drive.
Yeah, just got to get his head down. I think Joseph has got some pace here, but Cooper's back at him again. That accurate at certain spots on this racetrack seems to really out-accelerate the BMW. I think you related to it could just be the specific gear ratio that are homologated with these cars. Just keeps it more in the torque range where it's a bit more performance, but Kaplan's got a nice little gap here as time is winding down. Only 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, sure is. Looks like he is now under 4 minutes away from a second career podium, but he's first since his debut race at Road America last year. Kaplan, Catania, Broll, that's how they run through Big Bend. Turn number 6. Long sweeping corner, easy full throttle into the tight hairpin of turn number 7.
Well, it was a spicy performance by Cooper. He hung on there as long as he can, but I'm not sure he's got anything left in the tank, so to speak, in terms of getting back at these BMWs unless they make some mistakes.
No, I agree. And again, let's remember this Acura, it's only in its second ever race weekend here in TC America. Really cool to have them bring a bespoke turnkey race car to the TCX rule set to go to battle up against these BMWs. Looks like we're in store for some fun racing between the two brands over the course of the season. All of it, though, happening behind this man, Chris Walsh. He has been a breakout performer here in 2024. Chris Walsh, with 2.5 minutes to go, we're looking at, unless he slows down, which he could, he's got a big enough lead, but unless he slows down 2 more laps, that's Grossberg rather, up ahead in the second TCA Mini. Is that Catania closing in on Kaplan? I think it is.
I think he's got the pace potential to grab that podium spot. And as you said, he's only had one before, so he'll be digging deep here.
Both of these guys just won previous podium on the resume.
Joseph, big run out of 17. I think he got a much cleaner exit here.
What will Kaplan do? There is the second place TCA car ahead in PJ Gronke. Catania looked to the inside, now takes a wide approach into turn number 1 on the penultimate lap here at Sebring.
Yeah, Joseph tends to slow the car a little bit more on entry and then maybe picks up the throttle a little bit sooner than the guys that he's driving around.
Joseph's last lap was his best, and it was nearly a full second faster than Kaplan. We suspected that he might have a pretty quick car if he could get out of this traffic. He's just been stuck in it seemingly all race long. We'll see how they handle the TCA traffic ahead. Gronke sees them coming, lets them come through to the inside.
Yeah, Joseph's right there. There's a little bit more urgency here with his driving. You can feel it, you can see it. It's right there for the taking.
Next car up the road is Garcia, the leader in TCA. Kaplan feeling the heat here, but he's got to hang on for a lap and a half more if he wants to secure that podium finish here today.
Is there an opportunity here with the lap traffic? Joseph just got to set him up, give enough so he can just roll through Apex with a bit more speed.
How will they handle the TCA leader? Garcia gives them a wide berth, lets them swing around the outside. Kaplan got the better run there, though, and the traffic certainly had a part to play. Catania could not make the pass. He's lost a ton of ground. He's going to have to put his head down. We know he's faster, but he's got to clear this traffic first.
Yeah, he'll be frustrated with that. Just the timing was just off. It was going to be super commitment to try and clear Garcia and hang with Kaplan, and now you can see the result with just over a lap to go. That's a lot of ground to make back up, and it's given Cooper Broll initiative to maybe go for P4 as well here.
Leader is on the final lap. Chris Walsh has already taken the white flag, as has Lucas Catania, who has had a nice steady day running in P2, giving chase to Chris Walsh. But it's Kaplan third, Joseph Catania fourth, and Cooper Broll runs in the 5th spot. These three have been the show here today, trading those positions back and forth for 40 minutes.
Brawl really committed to turn 17 that time, got really wide, was hopping through there on 3 wheels. He's still keeping the pressure on here. I think he's having fun out there this morning.
It sure looks like it. Jeff Rica continues to lead in the TC class. It's still Garcia in TCA. No other positions really in jeopardy at this stage, so we focus in here on this fight for 4th and 5th. Joe Catania trying to hang on as Cooper Brawl, who has run as high as 3rd in this race, looks to pry that 4th place out of Joe Catania's hands.
Kaplan's got a nice gap here. He's just got to keep a clean last lap here, and that podium will be his. So we'll be ruining that traffic that they got 1 lap ago.
Kaplan did a really nice job working that traffic. Kept his head clear as he worked around some of these other cars in his own class to get up into that 3rd spot. That learning curve continues to shrink for Kaplan. No learning curve for this man. Chris Walsh, through turn 17, looking to keep the perfect season streak going. One more time out of Sunset Bend. He's already got the hand out the window. He celebrates with a flash of the headlights. Chris Walsh sweeps the weekend here at Sebring for the Karis Callis race team. The celebration is on. Now back to the battle here. Brawl really push it hard. He knows he needs a run out of 16 if he's going to have a chance to make a move. Kaplan looks pretty firmly placed in the 3rd spot. Catania just crossed the line. He finishes in 2nd, but what will the rest of the podium look like? The
Here
final
comes Cooper.
step.
Really sends it in there too deep. Gets into Joseph Catania. That's really unfortunate at this stage of the game. Just a bit of a desperate move there.
Aaron Kaplan comes through to finish in 3rd, but oh, you hate to see it after such a good race between those two. Catania and Brawl. Celso Neto still limping around. He might be able to pick up a couple of spots, but in TCA, how about it? On debut, Alex Garcia picks up the win. PJ Gronke, his win streak is snapped, but still a strong 2nd place finish, and Neto does come through to pick up the pieces. He finishes 4th, and that could have a big implication on his championship. How about Jeff Rica, though? He stays in the winner's circle after a win yesterday. He picks up the win in TC. His team car, Ruben Iglesias Jr., comes home in the 2nd spot, and Christian Pericarpi finishes completing the podium in 3rd in TC. But what a sad sight to see here. 2 drivers that put on a show for us for 40 minutes, unfortunately end up in the barriers and will not, it would appear, finish the race here today.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Joseph may have overslowed the car a little bit just to protect, but I think either way, Cooper a little bit too committed. Let's take another look and see how this one evolved. He was coming from a long way back and then just sends it in there. Fault there on Cooper. Joseph was just trying to keep it tidy through the final corner and bring it home.
Well, for Lucas Catania, it's another podium. He's racking those up, but still looking for that 2nd career win. And watching the championship get just that little bit further out of reach. I mean, still very early in the year. Nevertheless, Walsh unbeaten thus far this season. This young man might be the story of the day, though. Alex Garcia. Really good job holding off the challenge from PJ Gronke. Looks like Cooper Brawl will, and Joe Catania both, will limp back into the paddock. But that is a real shame to see their races end like that. There's Walsh making the turn towards victory circle and the podium. Lucas Catania will follow suit with another P2 finish. Let's look at these results. We know that the incident between Brawl and Joseph Catania is under review, so these could, of course, change. But Walsh, Catania, Lucas Catania, that is, and Kaplan. That's your top 3 in TCX. Celso Neto does come through for 4th. Jeff Rica, Ruben Iglesias Jr., and Christian Pericarpi finished 1, 2, 3 in TC, ahead of Sally McNulty and Joey Jordan. Then in the TCA ranks, Alex Garcia heads PJ Gronke to the line by just a couple of seconds. Maddie Lemke, another solid day, kept her nose clean, comes home 3rd, with Alan Grossberg in 4th. Chris DeFreitas ultimately retired that car with those transmission issues that were reported early in the going. Well, there is Chris Walsh out of the race car. The helmet is off. Let's hear from him after another weekend sweep.
Yeah, Ryan, and yet another dominating win for Chris Walsh. And I was talking to Tony Callis on what makes you different, and he pointed right here. And he said your determination and your ability to change or to train. What makes you different, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of prep. Physically, I know it's going to be hot in the car, so I train pretty hard. My job in the military makes sure of that as well. But, I spend a lot of time in the simulator. We go through all the data, and we just kind of have a plan every time and a couple of branch plans if it doesn't go the way we want. And we go out and try to execute that. And the team does a great job putting the car where it needs to be, and then it's all me when I get on the track to make sure I do what they expect. So, yeah, just great job of them. Thanks again also to Step One Automotive Group, who's been supporting me this weekend. So I can't be happier with this weekend.
Well, as we look ahead, and maybe not an answer that your competitors want to hear, but how much sim work have you done on CODA?
I do a lot. I'm not going to tell you how much, but it's more than most people would imagine. So, I come really ready. I've been to that track a bunch of times in other series, so I'm comfortable there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to CODA. It's a great track, great venue, so it'll be awesome.
Awesome. We'll see you in Austin.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, on the weekend that he graduates, Alex Garcia is going to find the top step of the podium as he gets a congratulations from his team. There's Mike and Carter Fartuck, who I'm sure have spent many hours with Alex. And as you get your helmet off, and I know you're pulling double duty this weekend, but time in here has been a little limited, but you get to find the top step of that podium, and you take out the guy that has won every race this weekend. How did you plot that overtake?
Just having some good practice, had a good team behind me, good strategies, and just kept my head down and just one corner at a time, one person at a time.
How much did the experience in the GR Cup Series help in aiding this win today?
Helped tremendous. Really teaches you patience, really teaches you, how to, the fundamentals of racing, and it's just, more track time, and you can't really complain with more track time,
Awesome. Congratulations, Alex. Enjoy it. Get over to the guy that comes off of that incident in Sonoma to sweep the weekend in Sebring. And we talked about the effort of just getting back to track ready. How much of racing is a team sport?
I mean, I wouldn't be here without my team, right? So, guys at the shop, countless hours. Everyone that's here is, this is what makes us, on top step every weekend almost. So I love it. Love the Hyundai USA guys, Liquid Molly. Very reliable car. I love it.
Congratulations, Jeff. Another dominating win for him, Ryan.
Sure was. And he's got all of his focus on getting to that championship after being denied 1 year ago. Great weekend here at Sebring for Jeff Rica. This is how race 2 played out from the pole. It was Chris Walsh who led the field to the green flag. Lucas and Joe Catania fighting for position behind him. Celso Neto was the big man on the move early in that Skip Barber Racing School Acura. Had the fastest lap of the race. Some misfortune late in the going deprived him of a chance to really show what he was capable of. But at this stage, he had raced his way all the way up into the 2nd spot. Further back in the pack, this in fact in the TC battle here, it was Christian Pericarpi up the inside of Ruben Iglesias. He was his highest 2nd. There's Neto in strife. That happened a couple of times as he dealt with some transmission issues reportedly here today. Neto dropping back, but still doing battle with Joe Catania. That put Joe at the back of this train. Cooper Brohl came through. Kaplan came through. Neto, as you can see, with those recurring issues, goes wide. Kaplan able to fight his way past Brohl. That was for the final podium position in TCX. At the front of the field, though, it was all Chris Walsh. He got the job done by 22 seconds. Then this on the final corner of the final lap. Brohl and Joe Catania ending up in the barriers. Alex Garcia on debut takes the win in the TCA class, and Jeff Rica another win in TC. Coming up next for TC America, a trip to Austin, Texas, and Circuit of the Americas.